Hi, everybody. Today is Thursday, October 2nd, 2025, and our dear friend Andrei Martyanov joins us. Welcome, Andrei.
My pleasure.
Andrei, let's start with what's going on in the Middle East. Many people are concerned about the new war breaking out in the Middle East. And because the United States has moved many weapons, aerial tankers, fighter
Yeah,
jets, the United States to Europe, and then to the Middle East to Doha, not to Doha, but to Qatar.
Qatar, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a small country, but after all, when you see the movement, what's going on, do you think that we are going to have a war, full out war between the United States and Israel on one side and Iranians on the other side?
We might have strikes. Well, you can call it war, but the reality is, of course, United States is incapable of attacking Iran on the ground. This is what really matters, actually. And the only thing it can do is do the standoff weaponry, launch, hurl whatever the number of missiles it has, and Israel will be like this small chihuahua in the middle of running around this stupid bulldog. So, but other than that, yeah, it could be, yeah, aerial war. Yes, it's exchange. It could, depending on how much United States has to hurl at Iran, and we are beginning to think that it's not very much to start with. But again, we have to keep in mind that Trump is owned by Netanyahu, and White House is controlled from Tel Aviv. And so, yeah, that's if Israel says the United States will go. And but then again, we have to wait and see what it's gonna look like. And again, keep in mind, I spoke about it yesterday in my video when the deputy speaker of Iranian parliament and chair of the committee on the national security, he spoke openly about it that China and Russia are supplying now MiG-29s and HQ-11 air defense complexes, and some. He says that S-400s too. Okay, we'll see. Who knows? But yeah, the only thing United States can do against Iran is just hurl whatever the standoff weapons it has left, and that's it. That's it, pretty much. So, and if Tehran will want to play again this stupid game like they played last time, like, oh yeah, those V2s, flying, yeah, oh yeah, it was obviously what the kabuki theater for everybody, but this time. Israel can have its even more damage, honestly.
I think the first time they attacked Iran, it was a surprise attack, mostly based on terror and
Yeah,
assassinating people, not
yeah.
that much of war. And I was wondering what has been changing during the last 2 months. Let's put it this way: that they feel that they can attack Iran again, because this time around, Iran is totally prepared. Today you mentioned MiG-29. Today we've watched a footage from Iran, from Tehran, that MiG-29 is just patrolling the skies of Tehran.
No, they do. Iran has MiG-29s, but those are older models. They are MiG-29As, which are pretty obsolete aircraft. What is being taught, and I need to see the actual footage of. He says that again. I'm merely, you know. Speculating here, but based on the statement of the very big honcho from Iranian parliament. So if Russia delivers MiG-29s, those not MiG-29As, those are actually MiG-29s SMT. These are very advanced aircraft. It's 4+ generation. They have the very good medium range weapons, and it's primarily glass cockpit, modern radar, and things of this nature. So they become a very serious opponent to any kind of the aircraft. Plus, Iranians do have experience with flying MiG-29s, because Iran has, to my best knowledge, something like between 8 or 12 MiG-29As, but obviously MiG-29 SMT is a completely different aircraft and pretty advanced. And this was the aircraft which was offered for the export in the mid 2000s. And since then, I mean, there's still pretty substantial capabilities there. So we'll see. And especially if there's S-400, we don't know, so we have to wait and see what is going on there. But yes, you're absolutely correct that pretty much the whole thing with the last time was based on sabotage with the Israeli agents and those turncoats penetrating pretty much. Well, they know. I don't know why Iranians continue to do this. With their generals and everything. Living in the open in Tehran. So they have been killed. The air defense was sabotaged in the first 10 hours. So this time probably different. And then, of course, everybody saw this footage of the Iranian intelligence penetrating the nuclear facilities in Israel. That was a shocker, and Israel probably has to really think hard, because obviously Iranians can really finish this off for them.
They have all the information of the targets if they
Yeah.
decide to attack the target. The Mona, one of the
Yeah.
main facilities, is the main facility of nuclear facility in Israel.
Developing, yeah. So it's if it comes down to it, then yeah. And if Israel wants to go nuclear, let's say there are enough imbeciles there and nut jobs, which pretty much most of them. Then I don't know. There is, we're looking at something which is how to say it, very dangerous for Israel primarily, because God forbid, if Israel tries to use nuclear weapon, it becomes complete pariah state, and there will be a completely different actual reaction of the international community, despite the fact that, we know it's symbolic, but it's very important also in terms of symbols that Spain, even UK and France recognized Palestine, which was pretty much slap into face of Netanyahu. But if the United States wants to support terrorist state, sure, that's what United States is, slap bitch of Israel. And Tucker Carlson and whoever can say whatever they want about being humiliated, but that's what United States has become. It's lost its sovereignty in the foreign policy, and especially in relation to the Middle East, completely to Israel. It is controlled by Israel. Netanyahu is absolutely correct. He owns the United States. And considering the fact that most of the senators and congresswomen on the Capitolium, they're corrupt and blackmailed by Israel. They are essentially extension of the Knesset. United States doesn't have U.S. Congress. It has Knesset 2.0.
Ukraine said that they're receiving Patriot systems from Israel. What are these systems that they're trying? I don't know. Is the United States sending new systems to Israel? Because if they want to attack Iran, they have to be prepared for that to defend themselves. And do they have anything better than that defense system?
No. It's the United States provided already Ukraine in the last year and a half and almost 2 years. Latest versions of the Patriot PAC-3 MSC is the most advanced. It failed miserably, obviously. And so whatever Israel is trying to already deliver to Ukraine, it would matter. It's probably a PAC-2, maybe some PAC-3. But the point is, Patriot is useless against modern ballistic missiles, let alone against modern supersonic and hypersonic weapons. So, I mean, sure, whatever. THAAD is the best that the United States have, and it's not ramping up production. There is no physical ability to ramp up production, for example, of those missiles which are worth their weight in gold for THAAD. And the last time we know it used almost quarter in 12 days. I mean, there you go. This is everything you need to know. So let them try again, I guess. I cannot, after I saw in Quantica in the last couple of weeks, I just scratched my head. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we live in the idiocracy, basically, so, and what do I know? They may try. Okay, sure.
How capable is the United States to help them logistically and militarily with the weapons that they can bring to the region? Because there is some sort of limits to what they can do and they can bring to the region. Because after all, it's not gonna be a huge amount of missiles and
Yeah,
If the war goes on and on, that would be hugely difficult for them to
yeah.
replace.
We before quantic circus. Okay, let's put it this way, because I'm lost for the word. I'm lost for words. Okay, I don't know how to describe this. I mean, this is beyond my grasp of my experiences. So, but if there you look attentively at the, for example, government accountability office report on the, for example, readiness of the American ground forces, it's a catastrophe. It's the end of the U.S. Army as we know it, So, in fact, it wasn't that good. I mean, there's always, this pretense that somehow it defeated mighty Iraqis, which is semi-literate army with the monkey models from 1960s and things like of this nature. But the problem is, United States simply doesn't have capability to sustain serious operations. So, in this case, as I already stated, can United States attack Iran on the ground? No. Albeit, I don't know what are the secret channels or clandestine channels or communications between Tehran and Washington D.C. But Israel in itself, it's a chihuahua, militarily chihuahua. The only thing they have is this nuclear weapons, which are, of course, some sort of option for Israel. But you know what? They have those. The economy of Israel is basically destroyed right now, and there are some serious other issues. So Netanyahu, in order for him to avoid to go to jail, which he should, together with his his cabinet or whatever, the Knesset, what have you. So they would love nothing more than to unleash some kind of the war, if you wish, strikes, which kind of will refocus, so to speak, the public attention. But Israelis eventually themselves, the society, it will disintegrate, because actually what they're committing right now in Gaza and everything which adds to it also exposes them to who they really are. And this is not a pretty picture. But Mr. Trump and his administration and US Congress, we know they are blackmailed, they are cowards, and they will follow the orders from Tel Aviv.
Andre, do you think that Donald Trump is afraid of Netanyahu?
Oh, absolutely. He's terrified. And then again, don't forget that it doesn't take much to really influence Trump. He's narcissist. The only thing he wants in his life is the approval. Whatever it takes, he dreams about Nobel Peace Prize. I say, just give it to him, for crying out loud. So, and he's afraid, and not only he's afraid, don't forget, Christian Zionists, and by different accounts, they constitute about, their number around 57 million, something like that. This number, a substantial number for the country of the population of 330, because nobody knows how many illegals anymore in the United States. It's very substantial, and it's the one of the main blocks for Republicans. And who Christian Zionists are. They are more pro-Israeli than Israelis themselves. They are fanatics. They have nothing to do with the Christianity. It is Scofield Bible, death cult, which they have loyalty not to the United States. They have loyalty to Israel. They have loyalty to their salvation. They are this rapture, all those dispensationalists. It's not Christian. It has nothing to do with Christianity. It's just, has this, outwardly appearances. But in reality, these are death cults. And for them, there's nothing better than, the Israel, just defeating everybody. It's unbelievable, So it's 21st century, and we have this type of people. And this is the main constituent part, so to speak, of the AIPAC and Israeli influence in the United States. But after Charlie Kirk, things changed. And people are speaking, well, we were speaking about it for a while, but I'm not that important, but Candace Owens is, Tucker Carlson is, and obviously Tucker Carlson's speech at Charlie Kirk's funeral is absolutely stunning, and reaction of this packed stadium, 73,000 inside. That is indication, So, but those people would love nothing more than unleash the hot war globally. That's who they are.
Andre, because the case of Charlie Kirk is somehow, we talked about it before. 2 weeks ago, we talked about it. And the case was still so much conspiracy theories around the case of Charlie Kirk. But after all, I talked with Larry Johnson because we were talking about it continuously to see what is real, what is fake, and the whole thing is something like is a huge chaos when you look at the case of
Yeah,
Charlie
it
Kirk. On
is.
the
It
part of
is.
the government, they make things up. This guy is, nobody knows if this guy really hit it. He really assassinated, yeah, Charlie
Yeah.
Kirk, but it doesn't seem that was the case, and they're making things up, and who knows what's behind this. But it's so much strange the way that the Trump administration came in, that they had they have corrupted the government. We are new, we are making everything, we are fixing everything. But you don't see, even with the case of Charlie Kirk, they're not honest about the case.
No, no. U.S. government was very well known for false flags from Gulf of Tonkin, allegedly Vietnamese attacking the U.S. naval vessel, or then Cuba and all that. Yeah, that's the only thing they can do. I mean, they think they're smart. They just kill the country. And again, how can I explain it? We are looking at the dying out of the old political system in the United States, which have been completely corrupt, and people who still believe in democracy and all that. So yeah, it's not like just conspiracy theories, although it was inevitable that they begin to circulate. And there are many people, they don't like Cash Patel, they don't like other people, but reality is that there is, of all people, Charlie Sheen stated correctly, this is our generation JFK moment, and it is. And fact is, I think it's larger than that, because obviously we live in the world of the instant travel of information and exchange of the opinions, and especially internationally, people communicate with each other instantly. So it was amplified tremendously, and impact Charlie Kirk had, on people. So obviously, well, is that Israel? Absolutely possible. Absolutely possible. In fact, it's highly probable. Could it be Ukraine? Absolutely possible. And also highly probable. Charlie Kirk's position, especially in prior to his assassination, a couple months before that, it was dramatically turned around. Not around, it's 180 degrees. It was a U-turn when he started talking about things which everybody talks on the kitchens in the United States. Most of people anyway. And those who are really, in some sense, impactful on the political life. And so, what can I say? I mean, sure, they will be lying. You remember the USS Liberty, and how father of John McCain, late father John Admiral McCain, essentially sabotaged the commission, which was essentially coming to the realization that Israel attacked USS Liberty deliberately, because they wanted to get rid of their eyewitnesses who were American seamen and American naval vessel. So we know how it goes. They are all corrupt. They are all blackmailed. They are all in the pockets of Mossad. And so that's the United States. Simple as that. It's not United States of America. It's United States of Israel. And let's face it. And that's what this generation did. They sold their country. They are treasonous people, and they are also fanatics and imbeciles who believe in this garbage from heresy, which has nothing to do with the real Bible. And and what can I say? It is what it is. We are witnessing the historical turning point, and the United States now has to decide if it wants to continue as the unified country. And but Europe is done. It's over for Europe. So the United States is the only last vestige of the Western civilization, in the sense that only Russia and the United States remain, in a sense, Western countries. Europe is not Western anymore. It has nothing to do with Western civilization. It is basically satanic playground, and they are done. So that those the core civilization core of Western Europe, which are France, Germany, it's gone. It's over. It's done. And so we'll see. But Trump is not the man who can handle anything. He's narcissist. He's covered, actually. And so what can I say? And then again, I don't know what's the deal with the Epstein files and all that. So is he the guy? He could be. I don't know. I don't know. Don't ask me on that.
Yeah. Today, Putin at Valda, he said that in today's global situation, we must be prepared for anything. The stakes are extremely high.
Yeah.
I think they're talking about how unstable is the government in the United States because they say
Yeah.
something, they do something else.
In the
You know,
West, in Europe, they
yeah, in
they
what?
are absolutely unstable. They are morons. They are cowards, all of them. Macron is a boy. He, I don't even know he did. But again, France is done. It's over for France. It's just a matter of how fast they will. French don't have honor or the integrity to fight for their country. They fight for their economic things that they can do, like today 600,000 all over France. Go, just fight for that your country is sinking now. You don't care. It was completely essentially Arabized and Africanized and things like that, so it's over for them. Same goes for Germans, but at least in the UK there were some but these are treasonous governments. They don't care about their own people. They are globalists. They are perverts. Most of them are perverts, sexual deviants. And so these are Satanism, plain and simple, So, and Europe in this case is gone. It's over. And Vladimir Putin stated it very straight today. And I quote, "The Europe is shrinking and will continue to shrink, and it will fade out." And this is what it is. So because of that, we have those cretins, who, as paradoxical as it, they know only one thing. They try to unleash some kind of war and to save their basically butts. That's the only thing. And you look at that French military, it's a joke. Same goes for UK. And yeah, if they want war, and let them try. What can I say? But United States in this particular case is the most important pivot of all that, because obviously we're looking at the nuclear superpower, and who knows what is. Nobody wants any kind of the serious mess in the country with this nuclear potential. And the people who are just panicking downright, in Larry Johnson wrote today excellent piece about American generals who were sitting listening to this humiliating rants by Trump and Hexet, and nobody got up and said, "I submit my resignation. I cannot take this anymore. I have honor, and I I have oath to my country and to Constitution." No one. 800 of them. None. Unbelievable. And that means what? Those guys only care about their careers. And some of them are not actually militarily competent to start with. And so, yeah, that's the nature of the instability. And then, of course, we don't know what's coming. Well, maybe some do. Maybe even Trump was informed about what is coming for the United States economically. And as for Europe, it's done.
The United States wants, they're talking about Tomahawk missiles, Andrei, to send them to. And what Putin today said that these missiles would not change anything on the battlefield.
No,
yeah, and he mentioned, Andrei, that these missiles and the use of Tomahawk missiles is impossible without direct U.S. involvement.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's not only that. In order for you to launch Tomahawks, you need to have a platform. Again, let's be very clear, and Vladimir Putin is correct. A Tomahawk is an obsolete missile. It has a good range. They talk about that. Oh, yeah, you cannot spoof it, or with the GPS, the things like that. Well, Russian air defense is pretty impressive, to put it mildly. It's the best in the world by so much that I cannot even describe. It's miles and miles. But Tomahawks have range, and that means what range they will try to, attack whatever that's, hiding, of course, behind the backs of that's what they do. They're not really good at anything, but hiding behind the backs of this Ukrainian cannon fodder. But in order to operate them, you need to have either B-52s or B-1 bombers, strategic bombers. You need to have class Arleigh class destroyers or Ticonderoga class cruisers to launch those things. Of course, they have them now, Aegis Ashtor, which is obviously in the Vasallo in Romania and in Poland. And then, of course, the other thing which you can launch Tomahawk from is this called Wanted Typhoon system. What is Typhoon system? It is basically vertical launch system MK-41, which literally is put on the automobile chassis, and so you stick Tomahawks there, and you can stick the SM-6 too. It's vertical launch system. So you drive it somewhere, receive your targeting, whatever the targeting might be, and so you elevate your thingy and launch from it. The problem is, United States needs it in Asia, and the United States doesn't have many of them to start with. And nobody knows the actual number of the actual Tomahawks which can fly in the United States arsenal. And as people noted a couple of days ago at Quincy Institute, not that I keep them in the high esteem, but at least they reasonably stated, but U.S. military doesn't want to use them. First, it's going to be, again, as always, a humiliation of the American weapon system, as it was done, for example, in Syria, by Syrian air defense, no less. Secondly, it's going to escalate, and then, in the end, they simply do not have enough those Typhoons. People say they have 3 of them. Okay, 12 missiles. They want them. They do not produce them fast. So it's primarily talk. J.D. Vance can talk whatever he wants, but he was a corporal in the U.S. Marine Corps, and he was writing. He was a journalist. Okay, so he doesn't have technical background to understand those simple things. And then, yeah, what can I say? But now, United States will continue to try to do something because, what can I say? Trump doesn't understand that he humiliates himself with each passing day. He also humiliates United States because he should listen to Viktor Orban, who is on record. It's over. The war was won. It's just a matter of how many more Ukrainians do they want to kill? Do they want to fight? U.S. Army is incapable of fighting Russian army. It will be destroyed. And so all this rah-rah, with all those, unless United States transfers a couple of the Ohio class SSGNs, which have been converted from ballistic missile submarines to carrying 172, I believe, Tomahawks, sure. Well, then I guess all bets are off after that. And Ukraine will cease to exist together with Europe, and maybe United States Navy will have some huge issues, to deal with. Unless, of course, they will go to immediately, which they will, because they cannot lose. And this is how setup of this whole idea of war is done in United States. And they will go to immediately escalate to the nuclear threshold, because conventionally, and read my lips, you can quote me. But again, I spoke about it for years. United States lost the arms race. It is conventionally weak. So there you go. They can attack Venezuela, of course. They can try to attack and will probably, God forbid, of course, Iran. But that's the ceiling, so to speak, at which they can go. They cannot fight on the ground.
I think I talk with Iranians. They believe that they're 100% sure that they're gonna be attacked by Israel.
Oh no, it's clear that they will. Yeah, and again, we are looking at nut jobs. Listen, after this spectacle, which is humiliating. I mean, Trump doesn't understand. He has no class. The guy is a New York real estate shyster who was bankrupt how many times? Very many times. I don't know. Very many, like 5, 6, if not 7. And he doesn't understand the first thing about statesmanship. He doesn't. He is badly educated. Everything in his life has been inherited from his father. He has the daddy issues, obviously. So he is, in a sense, he is, what we would call wussy. He cannot handle himself, and become a man. He never became one. I mean, and so there's so much also, including this question of assassination attempt on him. There are so many questions, very many questions, to put it mildly. And so you look at this, it's a circus. I cannot even describe to you the reaction of Russian military on all that. They were like, good, what the hell we just saw? And even if considered that it was used as cover to negotiate, talk in those, secret room, with all those that, commands, combat commands to how arrange attack on Iran or Venezuela. But you could have done it just, invited them, and without parading U.S. military as a bunch of the nincompoops, essentially. This is what it was. And not a single general or admiral rose and said, and saying to the face that this is national humiliation, this is unbelievable, And of course, yeah, it's I don't know. It defy. I don't have words. My vernacular is not strong enough to describe what we witnessed.
Andrei, if they decide to send Tomahawk missiles, to my understanding, the operation would be completely American. Is that correct?
Yeah, everything. Yeah, nobody will allow any kind of Ukrainian or any even near those Tomahawks, because for the United States, it's the best they have. The United States military, they have JASSMs also, but JASSM is it's so. And again, we don't know how many they have. But again, as I already stated, in order to launch it, you have to have Typhoon. There are like few of them. People say 3, 4, and they are needed, in their opinion, in Southeast Asia to contain China. But again, Tomahawk is an obsolete missile. They were trying to, but it's generation away from, for example, Russian 3M14 caliber, let alone 3M14M caliber with the range of 4,500 kilometers. So it's a completely different story altogether. And as I already stated, will the United States give Ukraine B-52 or B-1B to launch? So you understand the absurdity of this. And so, what can I say? We have to wait and see. But Vladimir Putin is absolutely correct. I mean, it's not going to change a thing. They will try to attack Moscow. Okay, good luck.
Yeah, Tomahawk is cruise missile. It's somehow
Yeah, it's cruise missile. It's a subsonic cruise missile with all those, new type of the Atronic systems from Tercom, which is terrain following things, to now the Atronic system, which can recognize images and things of this nature. So yeah, it's really nothing that new. I mean, it's calibers use the same thing. But it's they say that, oh yeah, you cannot change, to somehow go into the antenna and to the GPS unit there. Well, you don't have to go. You can. It's most of it is the GPS guidance, which is you launch it and it flies by coordinates. You can command update it at some point, and. But the problem is with Russia, it doesn't fly considering the ranges. I mean, it can reach, for example, if you launch it from Kiev, it's 2.5, about 2,000 kilometers range. It's a significant range. So, but it's, what can I say? Just cruise missile, slow and obsolete.
Yeah. 2 days ago, I was watching a guy who was in Moscow. He was showing that how GPS doesn't work in Moscow because because they have.
I've been in Moscow 2 years ago. Last time, you cannot even properly book the Yandex taxi. So it's always kind of So, and we stayed at the former Marriott. This time we stayed in the former Marriott in on the Tverskaya Street, and it's just like. Dudes, I mean, our phones were not working. The Yandex, and of course, we have the SIM cards from the United States. So you go to the those guys at the desk, and guys, can you call us taxi? And they're like, yeah, if we get lucky. So, sometimes, but now it's just completely shut down. So, and GLONASS works, but it's the whole other story.
Yeah. Andrei, looking at the urgent meeting of Pete Hegseth together with Donald Trump, with generals and admirals, what was that, in your opinion? What was behind this sort of bizarre behavior?
It's bizarre behavior. It's like people literally went bananas. I mean, these are rants, all those. And of course, Trump that he stopped all wars and he defeated everybody. It was humiliation, as I already stated. It's, yeah, 800 admirals and generals. No one stood up and said, I cannot take this anymore. This is a humiliation of the country, the nation. Nobody cares about Trump. He's a clown. Okay, let's face it. He is a clown. Everybody laughs at him. He's a laughing stock. The only problem with this clown has the red button on the, with him. But he doesn't understand anything around what a reality he is in. Some people say he cannot admit defeat. Nobody cares if he can admit defeat. He's narcissist, obviously. The problem is it's not about admitting something. It's about capability. United States have been defeated militarily and economically. And that's what is happening right now. And as I already stated, that we are looking at the turning point in the human history of the last 1,000 years. And that basically dominance of the West is over. It is fait accompli. And Russians, the only thing Russians can do for the West is to play with the United States, throw the bones to Trump to allow the United States crawl out of this situation. But the guy is he's such a moron, okay, that look at him, look at his special people, Kellogg, Jesus Christ. I mean, the guy is imbecile. His American generals, they are clowns. They don't understand first things. They lived in this, made up false narratives about how, as Obama said, finest fighting force in history. They never were, you know what? And so it's just bizarre, absolutely. But well, it's just another indication of what I've been warning about, that it's not only complete loss of everything. It's now it gets into this bizarre, grotesque performances, which the rest of the world looks at it. Some in horror, others just laugh. Simple as that.
Keith Kellogg said that people in Washington believe that Russia cannot win. He mentioned that. And today, we've learned from Russian President Vladimir Putin, he said in September alone, the Ukrainian army has lost more than 44,000 soldiers.
Again, American generals don't understand what war is. They don't teach them what war is. They watch movie Patton, which, by the way, reference to it was Mr. Trump standing behind the Stars and Stripes, like George C. Scott, who got Oscar for this mediocre General Patton. I mean, it was absolutely the mythology, about the guy who was, by any standards of the World War II, mediocrity. In reality, it was worse than that. But the point is that, oh, good Lord, I mean, it's just unbelievable. But then again, I made the video about how Trump was showing gold in Oval Office. I showed the palaces, royal palaces in Spain, United Kingdom, Russia. So yeah, go impress those guys with that. No words. I cannot describe it. It's, I don't know. It's, there is there is a Moliere play about this. And it's stunning, actually, playing about the guy who is from the really low class, but he becomes very rich. And he tries to copy, tries to emulate the true aristocracy. It is a comedy. And it is so ridiculous. I mean, the comedy is so wonderful. In Russia, it was done by the Vakhtangov Theater, famous Vakhtangov Theater. It was made also the TV spectacles play. That's what we observe. That's what we observe. We have this peasant, the guy who has no class, no education, no culture, and he got into the, what can I say? Mencken wrote it, and now people's hearts' desire will finally be fulfilled, and we will have, ordained White House with the downright moron. That's what we have now.
Kellogg said the senior officials in Washington told him that Russia can win. I suppose that the same people told Donald Trump the same thing. And
Me-
that's why he's
yeah,
talking. 2 times he
they,
said that Russia is paper tiger. Today, Vladimir Putin responded to that. Let me play Vladimir Putin's response.
Hold the strategic initiative in a confident way in all these locations, but actually we've been advancing steadily and resolutely. Are we a paper tiger? Then what is NATO in this case? What is NATO like if we're a paper tiger? Okay, the main thing for us is to maintain our confidence, and we are confident.
Thank you so much. You know, there are such toys that you make out of paper and make a tiger. I do think that next time you meet President Trump, you can give him such a toy.
Well, we have our own relationship, and we know what to give one another, and we treat these things with calm and ease. I don't know whether it was irony or what the context was, you know. Well, he uttered that and talking to his interlocutor like the paper tiger. Okay, then what followed? Go and get to grips with this paper tiger, he might have said, you know, but things on the ground are different.
Yeah. You know, but there is nobody in Washington to understand what Vladimir Putin just said. And
they can't. I mean, Pentagon is militarily incompetent. They are incompetent people. U.S. military education is a joke. It's a joke. It's basically based on false assumptions. It's based on false narratives. As I already stated, when you look at like Sarah Payne, who teaches strategy, a lady with degree in history from Georgetown University, do they even know what strategy is? No, they never read Svechin. They don't know the real history of the World War II. They don't know history of the Eastern Front. They don't understand Russia. There are no Russian specialists, and as such, so you have the complete failure on the strategic and operational level. Tactically, you might get some, decent American officers. They may even try to do some tactical things, on the level of the company, battalion, maybe even, up to the level of brigade. But even that now remains. Other than that, they don't understand things. There are, most of them are, which you read attentively at the about the situation with the, for example, STEM. Which is the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. American officers, especially on the level of lower level, up to 55%. You can read it in the parameters, which was the U.S. Army War College publication. They won't even pass entrance exams to any Russian military academy. They will fail. And they will not, even if they somehow get through, they will not be able to study there. It's completely different academic level. And of course, Russians also to love both things, which is normal for anybody. But the point is, Russians know the military history really well, and they really study it. But after I saw what they teach in, those war colleges, it's just a good Lord. So yeah, let them believe them that they're so great, But the reality is, it's difficult to conceive for some American general or admiral, that they lost the arms race. They just have nothing to counter with, especially if it, God forbid, goes conventionally, tit for tat. Even if Russia somehow allows United States Army, allows it without interdicting shipping lanes of communication, nothing, just allows it to go pre-deploy, assemble at the assembly areas in Europe, and then just move, somehow. That's the whole other story. For Russians will sit and wait for half a year that U.S. Army, as it exists today, deploys itself to the front. It's going to be defeated and will sustain catastrophic losses. Even American officers, obviously not the ones who are generals, they admit it. the United States Army will not sustain those losses within the months. I mean, because it's going to be losing at least 3,600 a day. It will be losing practically one brigade a day. So, and this is the low end of the, I'm not talking about Europeans, those are morons basically. And so, and that's the reality. And Vladimir Putin also addressed today, guys, new weapon systems are coming. So, but in reality, of course, even if you admit this thing, Russia will not allow anybody to appear in Europe to fight. I mean, because they will be sunk. Anything which will be coming out of the United States to support, the allies, yeah, it's not going to reach, you cannot, it's not going to reach the shores, but yeah, that's what NATO is, paper tiger. So that's what it is. Have been demonstrated empirically, beautifully.
Putin said that one of the main objectives of these drone attacks in Denmark, and it's all about militarizing Europe. And basically they want to, he warned this case of Germany, and he talked about World War II, what has happened with the German, because Germany is talking about we have to be
this time it's not going to be World War II. Germany will simply cease to exist as the state, and Russians don't have any tolerance for Germany or for majority of Germans who hate Russian gas. Russians are keenly aware of that. All those illusions, even 10 years ago, of the 10 years, they are gone. Russians don't like Europe, and they don't like most Europeans. Not just like, it's to put it mildly. Russians are cornered, So, and if these were Europeans who elected those people again, there will be always this old story about, we poor French, we poor Germans, but we are, some occupied others. No, you elected them. You had options. You had other people, no, you were totally corrupted and you just went along with that. So enjoy. What can I say? Good people of Europe, obviously, they are welcome to Russia with open arms, So they get these visas, they settle. But majority of Europeans, as I already stated, it's too late.
We know that there are people in the West that they want to put an end to the conflict in Ukraine. They don't like the war in Ukraine, but they believe that Russia is going too soft in Ukraine. And why Russia is not just destroying everything and all of these sort of arguments. Here is what Putin said, that why Russia hasn't gone total war in Ukraine.
We're faced with different issues to be resolved in different parts of the globe, and in the past times there were two blocks, the Soviet bloc and the Western bloc, but currently things have changed, and now I may be facing a dilemma whether I should act in this or that way. But if I act in this way, this will impact those stakeholders. If I act in another way, this is impact someone else. So, and well, in several occasions we opted for an omission. Sometimes it is wiser to exercise restraint than to act. And these are the realities of today, and this is something happening in practice.
Yeah. He said, the other thing that he said is, I think is so important, that what is happening right now in Ukraine is a tragedy for both Ukrainian and Russians. And today he said that, talking about the people, mostly the people, ordinary people in Ukraine who don't have anything to do with the war.
Oh, actually they do. That's the problem. That's what many people do not understand. And the opinion polls by all kinds of organizations, from Ukrainian to international, they confirm this. No, they want peace, but the peace in Ukraine is only on the condition of Ukraine. So it's not like that. No, it's I am on the record for years now. Ukrainian nation has happened. It is as a political nation, they do exist now. another matter that obviously Putin cannot go out and speak as Taras Bulba spoke to his son. I gave you, the birth, I will kill you now, so pretty much same thing. But yeah, he's being polite, he's being diplomatic. That's what people do, and he's absolutely correct.
You mean Ukrainian, Andrei?
Huh?
You mean Ukrainian people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nima, I'm not gonna open any secret here. And you know my connections, and you know some of them, and their opinion is almost uniform, both on the front lines and inside Russia. There are no friends of Russia in Ukraine. Simple as that. I mean, there's some, but they are minority, and that is why Vladimir Putin is absolutely, Russia doesn't want to govern Ukraine. You do not want to take on 19 to 20 million people who hate your guts. And especially after we know that 2 million of Ukrainian soldiers have been killed. So, okay, let's be very realistic. There probably will be another million done by the time. So then multiplied by 2 in terms of maimed and everything. You think Russians want to basically run those people? No. Fact is, if anything else, they don't want, but their conditions remain the same. They never changed. It's just that the matter of how far Russians will go. But again, Russia can annihilate another 2 million and to very small losses for its own forces. And that's what I'm saying. That Washington, D.C., they don't understand war. They never saw anything like this. Okay, the American generals have no clue what it is. They always operationally they are amateurs, like we saw already in 2023. We saw in 2024 with Kursk, basically idiocy which they committed there. So, and yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the result. We saw everything Quantica. This is a circus, basically, and they run there right now as headless chicken because they don't understand then what they have to do. They can't. Unless they want to go nuclear, but then again, they will be gone. The whole country will be wiped out, and with it, most of the world. So, and that's what, and Putin absolutely correct. Sometimes you have to exercise restraint. Russia doesn't fight civilians, even who are absolutely rabidly against you, which is the most of the Ukrainian population. Most, not all of it. I'm not saying that it's all, but majority of it, whatever this majority be, between 60 to 80%, they hate Russian gods. While being ethnically Russians, but some of them speak Russian, actually very many of them, but it doesn't mean they like Russians. We have there one of the most unique situations after Nazi Germany, when the whole nation have been brainwashed into utter delusion. And so there you go. That's pretty much the end of the Europe, which was postponed by the United States when it got into the late in the World War II into Europe. Many people say, not without justification, that the United States ended up in Normandy in 1944 and Western Allies primarily to contain Soviet advance, Red Army, because when they saw what was happening there, then they and so it's ended up in basically, Berlin and partition of Germany and things of this nature, and 2 blocks. But the point is, Europe killed itself in the World War II. Period. Through the 2 world wars, Europe committed crimes, unspeakable crimes. Okay, that is why, for example, they love this anti-Soviet BS, because obviously these were not Soviets who were building concentration and death camps. They didn't. That's why they love Solzhenitsyn. They needed the kind of things that, but reality is, it was Europe who committed this. It was France which collaborated with Nazis. Their resistance pathetic. It was unbelievable. And they made up their history. While they don't understand, they already humiliated themselves already then. Same goes for Germany. UK at least give Churchill, credit where the credit is due, because he knew what will happen to UK if, those morons from the Tories wanted collaboration with the, Don't forget, Windsors are actually, to the best of my knowledge, they have their House of Windsor, they have the German roots. So, and when you look at this, Europe is done. It's over. It's committed suicide, if not for the United States, which gave it another lease on life for another 70 years. And even then, it was the Soviet Union soft approach to, in terms of supplying the energy and things like that. Then Soviet Union collapsed. They made wrong conclusions out of it. And we see there, as I already stated, stated many times, we see the final salvos of the World War II.
Thank you so much, Andrei, for being with
My
us today.
pleasure.
Great pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.
See you.
Bye-bye.